The Blindside Podcast is not associated or affiliated with my current employers and is voluntarily recorded and produced on my own time. This is Blind Meadow Gamer, and you're listening to another episode of the Blindside Podcast. Available on Spotify and all podcasting platforms with the exclusion of Apple and Stitcher. Be sure to follow us so you will not miss a single episode. Hello everyone, Blind Meadow Gamer here along with Kaira Supersayan. What's up, Kaira?
Hey, Blind, it's good to see you again. It's been a long time since we've talked.
Yeah, it's been a while. This is another episode of the Blindside Podcast. Before we get into tonight's topic, you're probably wondering, why is there a two-man team in the booth tonight? Well, unfortunately, a couple weeks ago, we lost our co-host, Servant Cats. So that kind of explains her absence and that she's no longer going to be with us because she passed. So R.I.P. to Servant Cats, and your legacy will be remembered. So, Kaira, would you like to say anything before we get into tonight's topic?
No, Serving Up Cats will be missed dearly. She was really fun to have on the show, and she brought a lot of fun but chaotic energy to the show.
Yeah, oh yeah, most definitely. Fun and chaotic, that was her deal. But alright, so tonight's topic is how advocacy can help you succeed in the face of adversity. As you know, Kaira and I shared about how advocacy can help you find the job of your dreams. And we kind of told our stories about how we got where we are now. So in tonight's episode, we're going to discuss how you can use your advocacy to help you when things change. So, Kaira, would you like to go first?
Well, I will say being upfront about what makes you different when you have change in your job can be one of the best or worst things you can do. It can be good. It can be one of the best things because you'll wind up in an understanding situation. But at the same time, it can be one of the worst things because people will take advantage of that and treat you differently. But it's an absolute necessity when you are in a new situation, because if you don't do it, you'll just wind up with the worst situation all the time. You need the best of both worlds.
Oh, yes, you do. And I would like to kind of start by sharing a story of with me and about adversity and change. And we're going to discuss it in depth in a future podcast. But originally, I didn't even plan on having my current job. You want to know what I was planning on doing up to that point?
What?
I wanted to be a radio DJ for the local radio station. I mean, I was doing it, doing that at the School for the Blind and doing a real good job and thinking, oh, yeah, I'll get to go do this. And then when I presented the idea to OVR after a failed college attempt and what they did with the whole minimum wage deal, they insisted. They said, we hate to be argumentative, but we need you to try. We want you to try this first, and if this don't work out, then we can look into the other one. Kind of like they pointed me into this direction almost.
As for me, my OBR situation was very different. I originally wanted to be a game designer, but that was before I started with OBR. Originally, OBR sent me to trade school so I could get my degree under a success with a success plan. But when that didn't work out, OBR said, "Okay, well maybe we'll help you with a degree and we'll help you find a job at the same time, but we can only give you the funding for one or the other." I said, "Okay, well give me the funding for my degree and we'll look for a job after." And so I went to school and I found out about game design, but my math skills just threw that out the window. So at that point I was like, well, okay, let's get the degree, and then we'll go from there. So I went with OBR, and OBR couldn't help me find a job at all. It was an online ad through a temp agency that got me where I am today. I didn't even dream of it, of working where I am now. But I was so desperate for a job. I was a postgraduate with no income. I took the job, and it turned out to be one of the best situations of my life.
Oh yeah, with me, as I talked about in our other advocacy podcast, out of high school, I was put in Frankfurt Rehabilitation (FHI). I got paid some minimum wage. That didn't work. That was one of the worst experiences of my, in my journey. And then I tried college. I don't know why I said I wanted to go into business, but I did for some. I took, let's just say, at that time, the wrong advice from someone that who is going to remain nameless.
Yeah.
Yeah, just for the sake of say so. And well, the college thing didn't work out, and then I ended up doing the whole odd jobs deal and getting where I'm at now. And I think me where I'm at now, it's a good setup. I'm doing the part time work thing. I'm able to do what I love on the side as a hobby,
Mhm.
and it's a good thing. But see, the point here is adversity. The change that was faceted through that was just boom, 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 boom. I didn't. I went from wanting to be a radio DJ to all of a sudden, okay, I'm in where I'm at now. Talk about a big shift, a pivot.
And that's the thing. None of us expect to be taken where we're going to be in our careers. It can some it can be a midlife crisis. It can be your original goal didn't work out when you hit college. It could be college didn't work out. It could be part-time jobs weren't successful for you, so you need a temp job. It could be a number of things. For me, it was fa- it was so experience my first time in college out of high school. Three failed attempts at trade school. Said trade school will remain nameless for privacy purposes. Um, purposes to multiple failed part-time jobs, to going back to college, to getting a degree in a field that was completely different, to getting two separate degrees in two separate fields, to going to a temp job and finding out on the first day we want you to do yada da da da, when yada da 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 won't work for you. So you put your foot down and you say no, no, that doesn't work with my personality. So we're going to try something different. And if you have a problem with that, then this isn't going to work out. Period.
Right, and luckily for you, they were able to put you in a position that you love.
And thankfully, I had a very understanding supervisor who was willing to work and take on not one but two temps rather than just one temp, which was their original plan.
Right, with me, the change and adversity in my job came really when the world went to hell. I mean, in a handbasket, literally 3 years ago. They said,
Yeah,
okay, you're going to work from home. Well, okay, the phone ain't at home, you know. So what am I going to do? Well, they said, how would you feel about reviewing things for accessibility for one of our partner agencies? Okay, bring it on. So I started doing that. Love it. Then they said, what about note taking? At first, I was like, note taking? And my supervisor was like, hey, just do what you can, keep up with them the best you can. I want to see how you do at this. Turns out I'm the bomb at it. I'm good at it. Everybody in
good.
the office wants my services,
Yeah.
for various meetings, and that's a good thing. But I was open to trying. Had I not been open to trying, had I been closed minded and said, no, I'm not going to do this, and no, I'm not going to do the review thing, I probably wouldn't be in the position I'm at today.
If I had, if when my new boss came in and started assigning me new tasks, if I had said no, I probably would be a lot worse off in my career than I am now. Thanks to me taking on new responsibilities from my boss, I am getting I am getting more
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
being treated with more respect amongst my colleagues.
Oh
League.
yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, granted, our work situations are different. Your work. My work is a little different as far as the time and days,
Yeah.
etc. Because they
And
did
my
that.
work doesn't have work from home options, which I would love to have, but unfortunately, until something changes, I don't have that opportunity.
Right, and my work from the layer options, as I like to call them, is
Hmm.
probably going to be. I'll probably be. That'll probably be kind of coming to an end soon for me too. So we're kind of going to be
Yeah.
back in that boat. But again, adversity breeds strength, which breeds success.
Yes.
I'm not going to say no. I'm not going to come back. Da da da. No, I'm going to do what I got to do and man up.
And
But
go ahead.
the point is here with me, yeah, they've done a lot for me. And had I said no to these tasks, I know that my boss would have been up in my face saying, you're not going to do this. If you're going to be like this, we're going to get rid of you. It's that quick. You have to be really, really good at what you do as far as adapting to change. Now, there were some things I was a bit apprehensive on, like Zoom, for instance. I was really timid about using Zoom and with certain experiences I've experienced, outside of work. I had to, but when I looked into it on my own, I'm like, oh, it's this. And I looked into all these platforms and I noticed that they used a lot of the same language and they worked and functioned the same. I'm like, oh, this is easy. Yeah, bring it. And now I'm in a good position where I'm at today. My colleagues, they rely on me for things, and I'm going to continue to do what I do for them. And, hey, if I get the chance to be a radio DJ at some point or go in for that training, when the time is right, I'll know and I'll take it if the opportunity presents itself. If not, then I've got a good position. I've got good people. My situation is good, and so I'm eating good, for my situation. Wouldn't you agree?
I would agree, and I will point out I took a huge risk by putting my foot down when they put me in a situation that I didn't agree on. They could have easily said, "I'm sorry, we don't want you if you're not going to do what we say." But thankfully, because I was new to the job, and I hadn't even been trained on how to do this new position, I was like, and position, I was given something that was more on par with what I was told I was going to be doing. See, that was the problem. They told me this job was going to be for data entry,
Right, I
and
remember that.
they came in and they said you're going to be in the call center, and I'm like, excuse me, this isn't what I was told I was going to be doing at all. And they're like, and they talked to the other girl and they're like, were you told you were going to be doing so and so? And they're like, no, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And they, and so when they brought me to my current supervisor, they're like, there'll be some data entry, but it's not going to be all data entry. Is that okay with you? And I'm like, yeah, I just knew I couldn't do call center. They could have easily said, I'm sorry, but we just don't have anything for you because because of dang it, because you refused to work for us. But thankfully they were very understanding, and they were like, yeah, we have another opening, we just need to talk to somebody.
Right, and I think what helped our situations too, given they were different, was we weren't, snobby about it. We weren't uh, jerks about it. We didn't go and say, no, we're not
mm,
doing this. We didn't get an attitude.
yeah, no, I was the furthest from snobby. i
Oh,
had
yeah.
tear I had tears rolling down my face. I was emotional. I had a squeaky voice. I was timid. I was overwhelmed. They're like, it's okay. They're like, we've all had those bad days. We just need to work something out.
Oh, yeah. Well, me, I didn't get teary eyed or emotional, but I was just like, I didn't get, mean about it. I was respectful, professional,
Yeah,
because, they've had me for over almost 2 decades. My
and they've
current
had
employers, who will remain nameless.
and they've had me for almost 8 months now, and it's looking like if I play my cards right, I will get a merit position, which for those of you guys don't know, it's basically just the same. This it's basically just the same thing I'm doing now, but without being employed by the temp agency. My current employers would be my employers from that point on.
Right. They would take over. They would buy you out basically, in a way.
Exactly, they would buy out my contract.
Right. Now with me, I'm sure my employers would love that with me, but again, my situation's a little different, so they want to keep me
Yeah,
in my lane. But
yeah, you're in a
again,
situation to where you unfortunately are stuck in the part-time rut, which I feel bad for that, but you got to deal the cards you're dealt sometimes.
right, and I'm going to continue doing what I do. But if the opportunity ever opens itself up
Mhm.
to the other, they know I've got the experience, they know I've got the skills, and I'm showing them other things I can do to you know help them out. But the point is the adversity. We advocated and we had to advocate to get through this. Because if we wouldn't have
Exactly.
we if we wouldn't have advocated and at least tried, like, okay, may I share a story?
Yes.
All right. It was 2019, right before a pandemic, and
Mhm.
you've heard of the Uber app, right?
Oh yes, I have had some mostly good experiences with Uber, but a couple of shady experiences with Uber.
Right. Well, I'd heard of it, but I'd never used it because I was real timid, about
Mhm.
certain information and things, just really kind of gun shy on it. And one of my colleagues was like, "Hey, how would you feel about maybe giving it a shot and seeing what you think? You might have to, it might cost a little more, but it'll be worth it." And it was the greatest thing I'd ever done because you know I use it, found out I loved it
Mhm.
because you can, But the point was, had I not taken that leap and taken that chance and tried it, had I been stuck up and said no, I'm going to stay in my ways, that wouldn't have looked good on me professionally, and I wouldn't have gotten the chance to try something new and to see if I liked it. So, you know, that
Yeah.
was kind of the start of that. And then, when 2020 came around, I got a lot of the responsibilities I have now, which is doing notes, and I also do, presentations
Yeah.
from time to time. But again, all this came about because I was willing to embrace the change and embrace what they had planned for me.
Exactly. I remember. As for me, my supervisor changed about 6 months ago. Months ago, right before all the new people that we work with now came in. And I remember I being hesitant about the whole situation. But thankfully, because I made sure to be open with my supervisor about my problems, my insecurities from day one, he works with me to understand me. And because I've been there the longest, he also gives me
Mhm.
more, he trusts me and he gives me more opportunities. That includes end of the day responsibility, and going to places where my other coworkers don't get to go, and checking on certain things that only two out of my five coworkers get to do.
Right, and I'm sure there's advocacy involved in that too.
There was, I mean, not everyone comes up to their boss and says, "Look, I have a disability, and I need you to understand that if I'm having a bad day, it's not you, it's me."
Right, and with me, if I'm having trouble seeing something, because my disability is visual, more on the visual side.
Mhm.
It's my responsibility to say to my boss, "Hey, I'm having trouble with this." You know, like one time I was working on a PowerPoint presentation for work, which I never got to use, but that's another story for another day.
Mhm.
But I got her feedback. I said, "Okay, boss, how does this look?" She suggested change this. Okay, send a revision back. How does this look? Looks good. But had I not done that, and had I assumed it looked good, I probably would have not had a good product.
And
So,
I understand that. Actually, it's kind of funny you mentioned vision. I actually have a visual disability myself, where I had to go through vision therapy. Which, fun fact, blind was funded by your alma mater,
yep,
KSB.
yep,
Um,
that's very true.
it's yes, it's true. And so I have to wear a second, stronger pair of glasses that are different from this pair when I go into work, because I get, if I don't wear my second pair, my extra pair, I will get double vision and stars in my eyes when I'm trying to work. And when you're working on the computer, when you're working on the computer for 8 hours a day and feel your eyes getting tired and starting to see and starting to to see the computer screen trying to blur on you, you know that's a problem.
Oh yeah, that would be. But I mean, the point, is we had to advocate in our different situations.
Exactly.
We had to advocate not only in our work, but as things change, because in 2020 we all had to embrace change because we had no choice.
Yeah.
Um,
2020 was rough because I was still working on my bachelor's degree, and I had to do all of my I was an art major. I had to do all of my art projects online, and I got to tell you, you would not think being an art student and being online would mix. And it doesn't. It really doesn't, but it worked somehow.
yeah, I know. Like with me and my thing, when they when they said, okay, you're going to a hybrid model of work, half and half, half in, half at home. Okay, bring it on because it gives me the best of both. You know,
Yeah.
I get to do the best of both. I get to do the reviews and stuff at my home, and when I'm in office, I can focus on in office tasks. Um, so yeah, definitely. We've had some definite moments of adversity, and so Kyra, really quick, do you have any other moments of adversity you would like to share where you used advocacy here recently?
Well, there is actually something funny I should. There is actually one thing I should mention. Don't fall victim. If you fall victim to the common trend of office gossip, which everyone's done at one point or the other, be upfront about what you did. If you get caught, apologize and make the best out of it. Don't over apologize. Make sure your apology is sincere. And you know what? You can do what I did. You can make it funny. My what my mom did for me when she found out I got caught in a gossip situation, she by the person involved in the subject, she got a can of peace tea and a bag of airheads, and she said, "Go home, write a note, and give it to this person." Send. And if I hadn't done that, my coworker and I would still have a strained, cold, toxic relationship that we have. Now we have a more lighthearted, friendly relationship.
And yeah, like with me, I mean, I've had situations where I've had to say, hey, that wasn't me, that wasn't how I roll, but I had to speak
Yeah,
up, I had to use my voice and speak
exactly.
up. But I wasn't mean. But the thing is, we weren't mean about it in our situations. We weren't mean or
No,
mean
I mean
spirited. We were professional and did it the right way.
the thing with my gossip thing was I wasn't doing it to hurt her. I was doing it because I was venting about I was in the middle of venting, and B, she had the coworker had been very open about the subject I was gossiping about in the past, and I didn't know that the circumstances had changed because the coworker got very upset very quickly, and I'm like, "Oops, I didn't know."
Right, and you just it was a case of you didn't know, but you owned up and apologized.
I did. That's the important part. No matter what you do, if you get caught in an embarrassing situation with a coworker, stand up for yourself, apologize, and don't do it while you're in an emotional state.
Yeah,
Do it
make
when
sure
you've had
you're
a day or two to calm down, and if you can, find a way to make it funny, because oftentimes the humor will counteract the negativity. But anyway, that's us. That's enough for one day. Otherwise, we'd be sitting here talking about Kyra's
Yeah.
awkward work moments all day.
Yep. All right. So do you have anything you want to say before we close up shop and before we end this episode? Do you have anything you want to say as far as what could be coming next, as far as the return of a certain YouTube show that's coming back real soon? Or do you want me to go in
I
on that one?
You better go in because I'm not sure what YouTube show you're talking about.
All right. You're probably wondering, YouTube audience, making more fun. You're probably wondering where that's been. Well, that's going to be making its return with Kaira Supersayan acting as the new co-host.
Oh yeah, that's right. Kyra tends to have Kyra's brain doesn't always work the best because of her medication, so you gotta forgive me.
Oh, hey. So yeah, Kaira Super Saiyan is going to be acting as the new co-host. And do you think we should reveal our first interviewee, who we're going to do get on there first?
I think we ought to leave the element of surprise for that one.
I agree. It will be
But
way.
we can't. But if we want to, it's up to you. We could reveal next month's topic for this show.
Yes, that's a good idea. Next month,
Is personal health.
we're all going to hell. Oh dear God! And we might have a third guest in for that one. So yeah, our next topic is personal health. Um, so Kyra, you have anything you want to say before we close out shop?
No, I do. I do not. This has been Kaira Supersayan 93. Stay golden, y'all.
This has been Blind Metal Gamers, and so long, everyone, and peace out. And as always, this podcast will be on YouTube as well as other podcasting platforms. So until next time, so long, everyone, and peace out.
Peace out.
Thank you for listening. This has been another episode of the Blindside Podcast. You can find the Blindside Podcast on a plethora of platforms, including Spotify, YouTube, Pocket Cast, Castbox, TuneIn Radio, and much more. Be sure to follow on Spotify so you will not miss a single episode.